talking about was 1964. The meeting was convened by Egypt's Gamal Abdel Nasser. And one of the people who supported that resolution very vehemently was Tanzania's Julius Kambarage Nyerere. The argument was at that time that if we wanted to undo the boundaries, then there would be great conflict. And the reason why the resolution passed very quickly, even supported by Kwame Nkrumah and others, was on the understanding that we were moving towards integration anyway. That was the idea. We were going to integrate, we were going to have one government anyway, and those boundaries would only be administrative boundaries anyway. And so when in 1964 the resolution is made in Cairo, Kwame Nkrumah convenes another meeting in 1965 in Accra, Ghana. And at the Accra meeting, the issue that had been mooted in 1963 is revisited again, that we are going to loosen the boundaries, we are going to have one country, one administration, and the boundaries would not matter. But as you know, in 1966, Osagyefo is overthrown. And when he is overthrown, that is the beginning of the hardening of the borders. The borders begin to harden, and Africa begins to be divided with Francophone, Lusophone, and of course, Anglophone. And the borders have continued to harden, with the consequence that conflicts indeed have been fought. You know what happened with the Sudan and what is now South Sudan. We know what happened with Ethiopia and Eritrea. You know the 1990 conflict in Somalia. You know what happened in 1960 in Biafra. You know the ongoing conflict in Ambazonia. And you know the Cabinda problem. You know, even as we speak now in Zimbabwe, there is the Mutuakazi movement. There is a sense in which the hardening of the borders and misgovernance, so that the countries begin, the political leadership started oppressing the people. The consequence has been, therefore, that the whole idea of self-determination, what is called internal self-determination. And I remember, just to answer the question a lot more deeply, before the Biafra War, there was a meeting between the Nigerian government, Central, and the people of Biafra. And at Biafra, it was agreed that in order to retain Nigeria the way it was, we should encourage federalization and even confederalization with a weak center and all these other units. And you remember those famous words of Chukwuemeka Odumegu Ojukwu, the leader of Biafra, by Aburi we stand, and the response from General Gowon, and by Aburi you shall fall. And after that, a civil war. The answer, therefore, is the time has come to deal with the conflicts in the continent of Africa. Where there are issues of discrimination, there is merit to begin to determine issues of self-determination internally. And that is what brings me to the question, we must rethink governance in Africa. It is not easy, and there will be no one size fits all. As you now know, for example, in the Democratic Republic of Congo, the Banyamulenge question, there are people who think that we should create several states in that country. In Sudan now, effectively, the country is divided in the Darfur region, in the Nuba Mountains, in the Blue Nile. So is there an easy answer that I can give in a forum such as this? There is none. But there is one thing that I can say. That as long as you mistreat any group of people and you deal with them as if they are second-hand citizens, protest and secession is the language of the unheard. If you don't hear people, then they'll want to secede. So how do we deal with it? I believe that the African Union should have just a single agenda meeting. Peace and conflict in Africa, what are the causes and what are the solutions? That is a necessary meeting. If we do that, perhaps we'll begin to address the issue. The next question